House of the Dragon Episode 2, The Rogue Prince, premiered on HBO Max, and we've got your review right here, so stay tuned. Hey all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reels Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, my lovely co-host, the uncanny Omar.
Can I talk now?
Yes, you can.
Woo! Man, that intro's rough because I couldn't say a word because I didn't want to mess you up. You did really good.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about episode 2 of House of the Dragons, which you just told me what the title was, and it makes sense. Yes, so in case you are watching this for the first time, we do talk about spoilers, and we're remaining about spoilers of this episode. We won't go any further in case people haven't read the book and stuff. So we're just talking about this episode, breaking it down, talking about maybe some Easter eggs, if we found any, and spoiler and review talk. And maybe if you guys are interested, we could do this live at some point, like an after party.
Yes,
which I think we talked about, but we just haven't had our
sync up.
That's it.
Yep.
Words I'm looking for. All right, take it away. Amazing Amanda.
So episode 2 is called The Rogue Prince for good reason, as it does end with a wonderful standoff between Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, and Daemon Targaryen at Dragonstone, where he has apparently been squatting for half a year.
Really cool. Yeah, so it's been 6 months since the ending of episode 1.
Yeah, interesting time jump.
Well, I know. This show is jumping in time, which is really weird because I'm used to the slow pacing of episodes of Game of Thrones, the first few seasons, but it could be because those were based on the books, and this really is kind of loosely based on his book, but also kind of taking free reign with it.
Yeah.
Good to see Dragonstone again, and that was awesome. Like to see, where Daenerys went to, and what it looks like back then compared to like the city of King's Landing and what it looks like.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good to see the differences between them. But yeah, as Omar said, it has been half a year since the first episode. So King Viserys is still mourning the loss of his wife and his prince, while also growing closer to Alicent, who has been pretty much been, his companion, talking to him over his old Valyrian model, which apparently he did not make. I thought he did, but I guess we find out this episode it's not him.
He's sitting there with like pieces of like Lego blocks, or like the madman with the train in his basement, or a guy that collects omnis in his basement. Yes, I find that relationship interesting because both of the relationships that he is kind of forced into feel like a really creepy episode of what is that show with Honey Boo Boo? The kids, the pageant kids show. I don't know. I don't watch that
Dancing
stuff.
Moms? No, not Dancing Moms. I don't know.
Whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like the parents are like, this is what you need to say. This is what you need to wear. This is how you need to react. Holy crap. It is, and I get it. It's incestual, and we're going to talk about something really creepy here in a little bit when talking about the king and who they want him to marry.
Yes.
And I understand, right? I mean, these things happened not just in the fictional world.
In the real world.
But in the real world, right? So, it's interesting to see that these characters want to keep the lineage so pure they're okay with inbreeding.
It's been half a year. All of our characters are in different places. So, of course, King Viserys is still a king with his small council. And you're starting to see a little bit of turmoil. Lord Corlys, who we've seen in the first episode, he's married to the queen that never was. Rhaenys is her name. We're trying to get the names right because there's a lot of, as they're all Targaryens, a lot of the names start a little bit similar.
And this is still new, okay? This is a lot of characters.
Yes. So sometimes I feel like I'll say Rhaenyra and Rhaenys, and I'm actually meaning the opposite. But
you're making Daenerys. You're making Daenerys out of that.
That is maybe what they did.
You know what we didn't talk about though is that intro. We actually have what I wanted. And
a real intro. Yeah, that's true.
Song. I'm not keen on two things. Number one, they're using the Game of Thrones theme.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I want this show to stand out on its own. Maybe a take on it would be cool. And then the map. I don't get this map at all. It's just blood pouring everywhere and gears turning. What am I looking at? Do you know? I mean, seriously.
No, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked, I didn't look too much at it, but I should go back and look at it a little bit more to see what that intro looks like.
I like cogs turning and making the giant buildings. This is like blood is just going everywhere. I was expecting a picture of a tree or something at the end.
Oh, so symbol like the house of the Targaryens.
Which maybe
like
we'll get at the end
lineage,
of season 1. I don't know, but
yeah, we'll see. Maybe
but
it's
nice
to
to
interesting.
see. It's nice to see that they're keeping a theme.
Yeah,
it's nice to
definitely.
see that they're bringing that back. At
Of
least.
course, yeah. The beginning of the episode actually introduced us to someone they talked about in the first episode, but we didn't see, and that is this mysterious figure known as the Crab Feeder.
Yeah, which I guess is their version of the White Walkers.
Yes, except it's definitely a man, creepy man, I would assume. Someone who has been burning a lot of Westerosi ships and shipping ports, which for Lord Corlys, that is a big concern of his because of where he lives, right?
Right.
And that's his main import or export. And so if this man comes and decimates his area with these human feasting crabs, then it proves problematic for him. So of course he's upset about it, but this is where we really learn, like, Viserys is a good man. He's a king, right? But he's a good man along the same lines of Ned Stark is a good man, except, which means that he's not long for this world, right? Because if you're a good man in Westeros, you're never long for this world. And he's more about keeping the peace than causing conflicts, and so he doesn't want to do anything, which of course, it's not what Lord Corlys wants. And even when his daughter steps out of line, apparently, to offer her opinion about the Dragon Riders, we quickly learned that for her, even though she's been announced as the heir, Rhaenyra, that doesn't mean anything, right? She's still the cupbearer at the small council.
It's so weird to see that after the last episode where she was pretty much, hey, this is going to be the queen one day.
And they're all kneeling for her, right?
And she's just pouring red. I like the transition of all the blood, by the way, moving from the blood of all the people that got killed by the Crab King.
The Crab Feeder.
Oh, Crab Feeder.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Crab
King, I think, is a line or a chain of restaurants. But
if it's not, it should be.
going from the blood to the red wine spilling in, or that she's pouring.
Yes.
Really weird to see that, and then her talking to what's her name about like
Alice,
how these men make decisions without her when she's not around, which is really what happens in the original Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah,
you see that with Daenerys' character.
Oh yeah.
I really love the scene between her and the auntie, the queen that never was.
Rhaenys? Yeah.
Rhaenys,
Yeah.
That was really cool. Two very awesome, strong, powerful characters talking about how maybe they may shape the world if they were in charge.
If they could be in charge, yeah. And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of commentary in the patriarchy, but that's how it was back then, so it's not surprising that would be the case.
Right.
Very few queens made an impact back then in the real fictional world.
And I think by the time we get to the ending, though, like, a lot of her plans kind of get...
They get pulled out from under her.
I was going to say shafted, but yes, pulled out from under her feels more like it. Yeah, because her father decides, okay, I am going to take my daughter's advice and marry. Now, there are two possible scenarios here, right? Like, one of them is staying with the family and courting the daughter of...
Lord Corlys and Princess Rhaenys.
Which is...
so creepy.
A creepy thing because, how old is she, 12?
Is she 12? She looked like 10 to 12, somewhere in that range.
And there is a creepy scene. Now, they could have gone a different way and not done this, but I feel like it was a good move to do it because they're not backing down from what makes Game of Thrones stand out. These things happened. So there's a scene with him walking with this 10, 12-year-old girl.
Yes.
And, they're talking about marriage, and he was pretty much like, did your father write that speech for you? What did your mother tell you? And that's the part that creeped me out when she was like, that we would not have to be intimate until I'm 14.
Yeah.
Wow. To have those kind of conversations,
with your children.
What the heck? But again, that's the type of world these characters live in. So there's that. And then there's also maybe Hightower's daughter.
Yeah,
right?
Allison, yeah.
Who he himself is kind of writing her script and how she should handle the king. So he takes advice from his daughter that's like, hey, I understand. My mother would have been okay with you to move on.
Yes.
Now, what she probably should have told him is like, don't marry my best friend.
Yeah.
But,
I still found it to be a very interesting conversation that she would go that route, given that she knows she's the heir, and that she wouldn't, say, well, you are the king, so you have the ability to change things, right? Like, take an heir, but, make sure it doesn't affect her actual claim on the throne. I wasn't interested, but I guess at the time I
think in her head maybe she was playing it right and saying you can marry and I can still keep the throne.
I guess so, yeah.
Which I don't think everybody's playing the Game of Thrones. That's this. We get to learn more about these characters, these new group of characters. And I don't know about you, but you're looking for your Littlefinger character. You're looking for your Tyrion character in there because they gotta be in there somewhere. You don't
and they're
trust.
setting a lot of these characters up already. You can tell that's what this episode was about.
But
starting a chess match.
But let's go back to that confrontation scene at the end. That was awesome because apparently Daemon Targaryen stole this egg,
and
the dragon egg.
Yeah, not just any egg. It's the actual egg that was supposed to be for Prince Balon, which was now the dead prince that came out of Queen Aemma.
I love that the king was like, I'm gonna go and talk to my brother about
finally, because think about it, he's been sitting there squatting for half a year on this is where the heir is supposed to be living, right? On Dragonstone, and he's just like, yeah, it's my brother. He's ruly sometimes and a little bit, squirrely. I'm gonna let him just sit there. But this affront is what gets to him. Right,
because you are talking about his dead son.
Yes.
And I like that. And then, of course, the Hand of the King's like, no, sir, you shouldn't go. And then his daughter stands up and she's like, I think, we should take a dragon so we can avoid violence. And the King's like, go pour some more wine. And that's pretty much what happens, though. We get this nice confrontation between Dragonstone, which, like I said, I love to see again.
Yeah.
And all of the King's men, the Hand of the King, the new, what's Christian, I think is his name?
Criston Cole. Yeah, Criston Cole.
That was nice.
Which is he's a new member of the Knights Guard.
That she picked out herself with very good reason. She's like, I need somebody that can actually fight, that has been in fights, not just, jousting tournaments. But I love that when Daemon's like, oh yeah, he couldn't remember his name, and he's like, oh, that's because I knocked you off your horse.
Yeah, I know.
Nice. Touche. Very cool.
Yes.
And it's an intense scene because you're like, where's this going to go? Our character's going to die. You never know with Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
And then you see kind of like a Jaws kind of shot. And by Jaws, I mean the fin. But it's in the clouds, and it's a dragon that is like a missile speeding this way. And then out of the clouds comes Princess Rhaenyra? Rhaenyra, whatever the case may be. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before I can say it.
She comes in with her dragon Syrax, which I do love the dragon designs, just to point that out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think they're wonderful.
I mean, we are showing how much of a budget they are giving this show immediately. Whereas we just saw baby dragons at the end of season 1 of Game of Thrones, and this, it's like...
And they were barely even seen until, later on.
We got some huge dragons, and the designs are awesome, right? Like, you have them looking more like bats and less like stereotypical dragons with wings coming out of the shoulder blades. Yeah. I thought that was a nice touch.
I think so too.
And we get to see her confront her uncle.
They have really good chemistry together. Yeah. Regardless of whatever their relationship is, just the way they interact with each other, they are two very powerful actors. Matt Smith, obviously,
he's great.
I've loved him since Doctor Who, but he does.
I like him in Morbius. He was awesome.
He's Morbid time, which he says he had no idea that was a thing, but I doubt that. But he just has a gravitas about him when he's on screen, and he really does a good job of playing these kind of little bit maniacal. That's the word. Maniacal characters.
Amazing Amanda.
Which some people say he would have been great as a Joker in a past life, and he probably would have.
He's still young. What are they talking about?
No, I'm just saying, if that ever came, I know. I guess
the Joker role is always open.
It's always open. But just him and Millie Alcock, the way they talk to each other, even that High Valyrian. There's just this. I want more scenes with them together. I think that I hope there's more of him going forward. At the end of the episode, he does make an alliance with Lord Corlys. Yeah. So that does give us the idea that he's going to be around for more episodes and have more screen time. Because Lord Corlys wants to basically show everyone in Westeros, and the Seven Kingdoms, that he and Daemon Targaryen, they have a piece of this pie. They're strong. Stronger than the king, certainly, right now, who seems to just wave off all of these distant threats, which apparently that is a thing to do if you're king. Just that threat's not important. The White Walkers, they're not a big deal.
You have to choose your battles as the king, and you can't fight every one of them.
Nope,
you have to benefit the kingdom. That's always the problem with being on the throne.
Overall, I think that it was a little bit slower for me. It didn't have as much of just that initial impact as the first episode.
Right.
And I felt like there was a lot of scenes. I felt like there was definitely more. I don't know if you've noticed it. Do you think I feel like they didn't do as much on location for this. Maybe this episode really brought into view more of the on location filming, and that could have been due to COVID versus CGI work. I feel like there was more CGI in this. Not that that's a bad thing, but I do like the on-set, like on-location shots that we would get in the early Game of Thrones.
Well, that was the beauty of Game of Thrones, and what made the show stand out was the actual sets that they built for it, whether it was Winterfell, whether it was King's Landing, and I realized they did not build an entire city, but they took aspects of a city and added things there. So I felt like the balcony scene where the two ladies were talking.
Yes.
I thought that had some background, that had some CGI, and then of course Dragonstone, the bridge.
I think Dragonstone was definitely
because well, I mean, we've seen Dragonstone, right? But we've seen the remains of Dragonstone, so we haven't really seen it when it was in its prime. So yeah, I can see that. Nothing really negative to say other than slow. Like, predictable that these kind of things, these episodes are going to be slow, building towards what I assume is going to be the episode everyone's talking about, which in Game of Thrones tended to be episode 9?
Yeah, like that final episode that really just changes everything, or the episode right before.
Yeah, the penultimate.
Yeah,
and I think in this, I think that we're going to be seeing it a lot earlier, maybe at the halfway point, maybe at episode 6, where it catches us off guard completely. I'm not saying Red Wedding kind of catching people off guard for people that didn't read the book, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying like a strong turn that you're like, okay, this is the show to talk about.
I'm also curious about where they're going to go with this mysterious character that the Crab King. The crab feeder. Because,
not as cool as a White Walker.
It's not as cool as a White Walker, but is this character, obviously we're going to see Lord Corlys and Daemon taking this character on, so I don't know how mysterious he'll be for long, but all the scenes that we got to see of his crabs eating things, and I mean it was great. I love those eerie shots.
Those were not practical effects.
Yeah.
Those were some CG
that
crabs.
Was scenes of crabs. I don't know what crabs eat people, but yeah, to see more of that will be interesting as we move along. And I'll be curious how much of a mystery he'll be within the first season. White Walkers, we saw glimpses of them, and they became more prominent as the seasons progressed. I don't think he'll be that type of a mysterious character, though.
No, I don't think they're going to build this up to be like the White... You had the White Walkers. This is more of a time of the dragons, and then, of course, the fall of this particular
familial conflict? Is that what we want to say?
I guess...
Interfamiliar conflict.
Regardless, I'm in for the ride.
Yes.
For me... This episode was probably 7.5 out of 10.
7, yeah. I was in 7 out of 10. Like I said, it was a little bit slow, but I still enjoyed it overall because what it's doing is setting up what we're going to see. All these different alliances that are forming, so I really enjoyed that. So
yeah, I can't wait to see it. Again, let us know in the comments if you want to see it live. We'll talk about doing something like that because we did have a lot of fun with the after parties with Game of Thrones.
Definitely.
So smash that like button.
And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Mint Edition merchandise, and also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us as we make these videos for everyone. And last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint.
That's it.
Good journey, everyone. We will see you all later.
Bye-bye. Yelling.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Making random notes. I don't even know how this is. My notes make any sense.
I'm not looking at them. Notes.
In your head. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we're starting. Okay.
Yes, we're starting.
Okay.
That's why I counted down. All right.
All right. The second episode of House of the Dragon premiered last night on HBO Max, and we're here with our review for you right now.
I want to do that again because I look stupid because I was about to say something, but you did that really good.
Okay.
All right.
All right, you count us down.
Yeah.
Okay. House of the Dragon Episode 2 premiered recently, and we've got your... Nope.
You did one take and I messed it up. Okay.
See, I had a better take the first time. Okay.
All right.
It's fine.
It's too early to start yelling.
House of the Dragon Episode 2 Rogue Prince premiered recently on HBO Max, and we've got your review right here. Oh, so stay tuned.
I pointed up there. I'll point up there next time. Okay, you pointed. I pointed down. You pointed up there.
I thought we were supposed to.
We're doing that. We're doing that. Okay.
We did it before.
We'll do. Whew, this never happens when we do it live.
Okay. Yeah, I know because we just go right into it.
We go right into it.
And I don't have to.
All right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Count me down.